Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. Memo here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the latest release from Cang Toys. This is the Cang Toys CY-MINI05 THORMINI. This is the legend scale version of their gorilla, the monkey pants. This is the added member to Predaking. The one that everybody was surprised was added as an additional member to create the combiner, but still pretty cool. But quick look around the box. I always do love Cang Toys packaging with the highly reflective artwork and lettering. Cang Toys at the top. You've got robot version and ape version on one side, and then the opposite on the back, ape version and robot version. Love the way they package them, very secure, nicely done in foam cutouts. Really appreciate it. But that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So in the package you do get the instruction manual. It's done nicely with nice color-coded pictures. It's a fairly simple transformation, so it does a good job of getting you through it. You get his blaster. As we've come to expect, it's nicely done in black plastic with somewhat of a metal flake sheen to it. Also trimmed out with silver and gold. He comes with his warhammer. I hesitate to really call it a sword, but given that his name's Thor, you would expect it to be a hammer. I guess it could be a mace, but I really hesitate to call it a sword. It's done in red paint, silver accents on the spikes and on the blade. One thing that's starting to come together is we can see how it's somewhat going to combine in combine mode. You can bring in the two swords from Land Bull and Rhino Mini, and even Firmament. Now I'm not putting them in there tight because it is a bitch to get them off because of the paint, but it's starting to come together as far as the general shape. Remember, we got 3 more bots to go with the chest and 2 arms, so a lot more to add to this. And he can hold both of those weapons just fine. Well, that brings us to the figure. Honestly, I think he really looks good. Looking at his head sculpt, definitely I feel like that's somewhat of an homage to Primal. But I think it looks really good. Silver for the face. They do the light piping again, but this time it actually works a little bit, which is nice. You just have to have a light directly behind it. Overall, it looks fantastic. Black and silver throughout. Very nice tempo done in white. Also throughout, there on the legs and the shoulder. Very clean and wonderful looking gold and red on the chest. Some gold tempo here on the hip skirts. I really think it looks fantastic. Gold and red here on the legs. Articulation, that's where he does fail a little bit. Head can go quite a bit down and quite a bit up, which is nice. Get a little bit of confused dog look in there too. Shoulder pads, I like the way that they work, but it can cause a problem in all mode. But shoulder pads can get way up out of the way, and arms can go to there. You do have rotation right above the elbow, which is, it's double jointed, but that brings us to the big thing that I don't like, is just the hands are just hanging out here in the back of the arms. Just looks definitely messy, in my opinion, for lack of a better word. But I mean, I guess it would really be hard to hide big gorilla hands. But anyhow, it's very tight, but the hands can pivot. A little bit of up and down due to the transformation too. Oh, and the arms can do a full 360. And since they are on a ball joint, a little bit of a butterfly motion. But you do have a full waist rotation, but it does seem to be hindered by the hip skirts, which is disappointing. It's a tight turn, so be careful. This is hindering it a little bit too. So the backpack and the hip skirts do get in the way of the waist rotation. Bummer. You can lift the hip skirts up, and this is really where it does fail. You do get great articulation out. Up is definitely limited. Back has more range than forward. Knee bend, it's relatively non-existent. Unless you unclip the knee, break the sculpt, and put the knee back, then you can get 90 out of it. But then you have that ugly connection joint there, which it's not meant to do that. But that's the only way to get it past, what is that, 10 degrees? Not much movement at all. And unless I'm doing something wrong, but that's all the movement that allows. You can go forward as much as you can go back, but that's a bummer. You do have a thigh cut for rotation. Coming down to the feet, the toe. Well, the feet can rock up and down. They're on a ball joint. And the toe can tilt up. No movement back here. Just the tilt. And then you have an ankle rocker. So that's not bad. But this knee and the limitation of the waist, just due to its own sculpt, articulation is a little disappointing. And there's the view from the back with his tail. And just to give a comparison in size, here he is with New Age Starscream and Magic Square's Sideswipe. And here he is with the other members of the group. Set's turning out to look really fantastic, to be honest. Forgot to mention, it's not really necessary, but the instructions do say to bring these guys down like that. There we have him in gorilla mode. And I mean, overall he looks really good. It's just that I'm disappointed with the articulation. Nice silver throughout. We saw this before in robot mode. Nothing really has changed. Same chest. We do have the new face though, which looks really good. This time they went with painted eyes rather than light piping, which I wish they would do that on all their bots. But you got red on the crest, silver face, silver face, red eyes. As far as articulation, quite a bit down, quite a bit up. If you utilize the extra hinge here, you can actually get quite a bit up, if you find that beneficial. You have to rotate those out of the way, but you do get the motion on the arms. You still have the same bicep rotation and elbow bend. Now that brings us to the hands, which do have posable thumbs and fingers, and they do rotate. It's very, very tight, but there is rotation there, so be careful with that. But there's a ball joint, so you can bring the thumb all the way down if you want, but the fingers are all on one pin. Same waist rotation, same motion here on the legs. It's just sad that it's so limited. You still have the ability to split the legs, and you can get motion on the legs, but I feel like it breaks the sculpt up. And you get the same, actually reduced tilt because of the way this goes in. But you do still, well, you get a rocker, but it goes the opposite way unless you fully extend it, and then you can bring it in. So articulation wise, not so good. Decor wise, as you can see, looks fantastic. I forgot to mention the red and gold here on the shoulder pads, and you can definitely articulate those any way you see fit. You can even bring them out if you'd like. So lots of posing options. For weapon storage on the gun, there is this little tab and connection. So if you want, you can have his blaster right behind his head. Just, it does limit the head to just the lower hinge, but it's really neat that you can do it. And just for comparison, here he is with New Age Jazz. So let's talk about the bad. Articulation. That's the main thing that I've come across with this figure. This is lacking. I know he's supposed to just be there in order to avoid parts forming in combined mode. He accomplishes that, and we'll go over the combined mode for him when we have the full set and I do that review. It's lacking articulation in the legs and waist. It just feels subpar from what we've come to expect with modern day Legends class figures. But let's talk about the positive. The paint, as usual, is fantastic. Cang Toys never fails in that or in their sculpting. I realize it's stylized, it's not G1, it's not for everybody, but it still does look damn good. So that is what we've come to expect from Cang Toys. But we've also come to expect better articulation, so it's disappointing. But overall, he's a nice figure. And he's just one step closer to us having a full combiner, right? I'm really glad that Cang Toys is really starting to focus on these and getting them out in a very fast pace, it seems. So we've got that to look forward to also. Do I recommend them? If you want the combiner, you're going to have them, aren't you? So, as far as do you need him if you're not going for combine mode? No. Again, he's an additional piece to the set that was created to avoid having to part form the legs. So, but he's still really cool. I do like the Optimus Prime or Optimus Primal-esque head sculpt. It's a nice shout out, and I think he looks really good. So overall, is he recommend for me? I mean, yeah. If you want to do the combine mode, you're gonna have him. He does look really good on the shelf. Just don't expect too much as far as articulation. Now, I picked mine up from toydojo.com. Check them out. They've got this and a large choice of different Transformer toys to choose from. A great company to work with. If you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and get your bell on so you get notified of future content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.